everyone, good evening. So we have arrived at the penultimate session of today's conference, which is focused on sustainability and climate change solution. And I would say it is no overstatement to say the approaches we are going to adopt today towards these critical climate issues are profoundly going to impact the future of not just one nation, but the entire planet. And data center industry has a huge role to play in it. With that, we have our topic of discussion today. Can data center industry in Mumbai or say in India deliver on greater sustainability of its own accord? With that, allow me to briefly introduce myself. I am Tanvi Kapoor, leading Environment, Health and Safety domain for Google Data Centers in India. And I warmly welcome our esteemed panelists who are dignitaries and senior leader of the industry. So, could you please self-introduce yourself one by one?
Hi, good evening everybody. My name is Andrew Green. I'm the data center practice lead for Jones Lang LaSalle, international real estate advisory firm. And my particular team across the region provides technical advisory, construction project management and FM operations to our data center clients.
Thank you, Andrew. Hi everyone, I am Ganesh Pawar. I am Director for Data Center Operations in Equinix India. Equinix is world's digital infrastructure company and #1 data center company in the world. We got more than 260 data centers across globe. In India, we entered 3 years ago by acquiring a company called GPX. We currently have 5 data centers in India, 4 in Mumbai and 1 in Chennai.
Hi everyone, so I'm Durgesh. I'm representing Werks Iron Mountain Data Centers, and I'm CFO for the India Data Center Operations for Iron Mountain. So Iron Mountain and Werks collaborated 3 years back, and Iron Mountain is a global leader listed in stock exchange, New York Stock Exchange. It has more than 700 megawatt of in various stages of development. And recently also they have acquired around 300 megawatt in Virginia, which is one of the most hottest bed for the data center industry. Thank you all.
Thanks. So myself Ashish Joshi. I'm from Entity Global Data Centers. I'm working with Entity from last almost 10 years. I'm working as a Director Procurement. You may wonder that why I have not mentioned my name into the panel as a Entity Global Data Center, because the views and the points which I am going to discuss is based on my 20 plus years experience in the supply chain and not on behalf of Entity. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Let's now turn to these dignitaries and industry leaders to share their insight. May I begin with you, Mr. Andrew? We would appreciate your perspective on the first question. In your view, where do the responsibilities for delivering on sustainability outcome currently lie? Furthermore, how does this vary by different area of sustainability, be it energy efficiency, water conservation, or waste management, etc.?
Thank you very much. Well, the simple answer to that question is we are all responsible. You can pick out, individual groups or teams within the data center eco-cycle, but it's such a complex area that if we don't all engage in it and don't all try and do the best that we can absolutely do, then we won't achieve the goals that we're setting ourselves. I just wrote a little list before we came on the stage here, and these are in no particular order, but the sort of players that we need to have engaged in this debate: the utility companies, central government, local government. These guys are the guys that set policy. The investors, the guys that put the money into the industry. The developers, the owners who actually commission the builds and bring the facilities online. The designers, the OEMs, the guys that design and manufacture the equipment that we use in the data center. The operators. The hardware manufacturers, the application developers, the chip and GPU manufacturers, all of us. We all play a part. If any of us let that process down, then we won't achieve the challenges that we're setting ourselves around net carbon zero. But the other thing also to mention here is a data center by its very design is not going to be green. Okay? The only time we can get to the point of being green is where 100% of the energy that the facility consumes is from a green energy source. And though I have to praise India for where you are on that curve of being able to deliver green energy right now, when I work around other countries in the region, they're nowhere near as developed as you guys are. You actually are right there at the front of the leading pack, so well done for that. But, you know, if a government agrees to an energy company building a green energy plant, you're talking at least 15 years before that green energy comes available. So, you know, our industry, and particularly here in India, where it's growing so quickly, is growing at a massive pace. We are growing quicker than any government or utility company can deliver green energy. And that's where the challenge comes for us. So do we have, as an industry, start to need to consider generating our own green energy and being really masters of our own destiny around how we create the energy and how we use the energy. I've got one last analogy before I close and give you back the question. I'm currently building a house and I have a really good designer working for me, and the brief to her is I want an environmentally friendly house. And she's working very hard to source materials, design the mechanical and electrical systems, got solar panel, deep water well, I'm going for everything. But when my kids get into that house, it doesn't matter how well I have designed the house, how well I've put all those gadgets into the house, they will leave the air conditioning on in every room, the TV will be left on in every room, the lights won't get turned off. And I'm looking at you because obviously you're very much in the operations side. You know, we can do so much to solve this problem just by the way we manage the facility.
Thank you so much, quite insightful. Can I now request Mr. Durgesh to share his unique point of view on the same question with our audience?
So, I will rather start philosophically saying that sustainability is a journey, and it's a very noble thought which has been put into our mind through UN resolutions and all in 2015. Multiple goals are there, but to basically deliver this noble thought, we have to have some noble mindset to re-attain our sustainability. I say re-attain because in the wake of industrialization since 1920, I will say. So we have been very greedy, right? We have heard since long like Earth is enough to meet everybody's needs, but not everybody's greed. So we need to be less greedy now. We need to be think about going green. Having said so, means I concur with Andrew. Like, who is responsible? Who are the main guys who should help to make it green? So it's all of us, everybody, whether it be the company, operational management, whether it's be customers, whether it's be stakeholders in terms of investors, whether it be manufacturers, all of them, and the enablers like government facilitating the entire thing. I say so because everybody is equally, or I'll say, responsible for creating the mess that we are in. So we need to leave the world in a better way for future generation. So let's say start with government. So government has to facilitate this, and there are many data center policies over the last 2018-19. I will say people have become, in India specifically, they have become more conscious, and government has also recognized this. In Maharashtra, since in Mumbai, Maharashtra specifically has also identified this issues like 60% of the data center capacities in India, and Maharashtra came up with a data center policy in 2021 and 22. So where they're enabling all the players in the market to basically go for green, right? So hence you see like Maharashtra currently on 37 to 40% is on renewable. Although it's lower on the bracket, can do much more, but still there is a goal for it to achieve that. So I think that is something which we need to think about. Secondly, the customers. So data center, in the previous panel you might have heard like how data center is structured. So you have 10 to 20% of the cost, which is basically land and building, 20-25% of the cost. And then you have 70% cost from a data center developer perspective. That's a 70% cost. But if somebody is spending 1 crore on data centers, there's 3 crores which is spent on IT equipment. So the customer who's bringing his IT equipment, they are also equally responsible. So they should ensure that they are bringing in materials which are less, which are less carbon emission is there. They should basically work on their value chain to reduce this. And many people are working that, like you might have heard of, many sustainability reports are coming up. Google, Meta, they're working on those factors. In fact, my company also, Iron Mountain, globally, they are into ALM also, asset lifecycle management. So they are trying to reuse the equipments and basically rehash it, repurpose it. So I think these are the activities which are going on in the market. And like investors, like you have many investors now also coming up in the global private equity players. They are also interested in investing in players who are going green. Then I was just reading a report a month back about RBI, two people from RBI have written the report. So BFSI segment, they're instructing the BFSI segment now, like go and basically collaborate with operators who are basically having green buildings. They have certain credentials, criteria on which they have to go and talk with the operators. The people who are not in that bucket probably will be chucked out of the RFP itself. So I think these are the players who are there. All of us are stakeholders, and we have to play our role individually and in the best fashion so that we can leave the better world for the next generation.
Thank you. Quite and truly intriguing to know your perspective, and especially it's I think it's correct to remind all of us that we are not just the sufferers, we are the culprits, and we are the reasons for the current situation. Thank you so much. Now I would like to ask Mr. Ashish to share something about the smart financial planning to achieve the goal which two of our panelists have mentioned. So, building upon your insight, could you please share what cost-benefit analysis models can help data center justify the upfront investment in sustainable practices?
Thanks, Tanvi. As fellow panelist was raising the concern about the sustainability, we as a data center fraternity, we keep on talking about the sustainability is very important, and then we need to again meet our targets. But in parallel, are we adopting the methodology in our business planning? Are the data center players or the co-location providers are working to prepare a new model of cost-benefit analysis? Is very important to ask this question ourselves. Then we, depending on our suppliers, whether they are maintaining the sustainability or not. I think we all, as a data center players, still operating. Durgesh can answer this very well. That we are still operating on the old 1960s cost-benefit analysis methodology, and we are looking for a ROI which is maybe 20 years, 25 years from the date of the construction go live date, right? Which definitely is not right practice, because that may be a good practice when we go for a building a dam, roads, hospitals, but the building structure which we are building like a data center, which is absolutely a technological marvel, and it's a power guzzler. In that case, we need to look at its impact on the socio-economic life cycle of the environment. What is going to happen over a period of say 50 years, 75 years or 100 years? That has to taken care into our business plans, our the approvals. Otherwise, it going to, if we are going for a traditional methods and then we keep on talking about sustainability, I don't think we are meeting a point where the required investment to really make us actual practical sustainable data center will be a daydream, honestly. If unless and until we change our cost benefit analysis, we bring the discount rates matching to a current methodology and the impact on the environments. Not only thinking at when is my ROI is coming. These changes has to be done in our business plans, the investment plans, and the ROI has to be adjusted. ROI cannot be looked at only the investment. When I am doing my investment, I should get the certain percentage back in maybe 5 years, 3 years. If that's the P mindset, I don't think we are going for a sustainability very soon.
Thank you so much. Well explained. Mr. Ganesh, we would also like to hear your unique thoughts and perspective on this subject to know more about the cost-benefit analysis model.
Yeah, so being an operations guy, I have some different perspective than Ashish. So whenever you take any energy efficiency project in operations, it has to have payback and IRR. So whatever IRR, if you get IRR about 20, that means the project is healthy. You can go for energy efficiency project implementation. If you look at RE project, renewable energy projects, then the IRRs and payback varies from project to project. I will give one example. We recently signed 150 megawatt PPA in Australia and one signed in Mumbai. So when we started discussing for the PPA, the power rate which we are getting was close to 5.33 rupees as a base rate, and the landing cost was close to 7 rupees from the utility service provider. When we finished our discussions and signed the PPA, the power rates were already up by 21%. What best thing we have done is we have locked in the power prices for next 25 years with the PPA guys. Okay, and we also added a clause that whenever the electricity prices are increased by the utility company, the PPA prices will always be lesser than that. We ourselves protected ourselves, and in addition to that, we made sure that the cost benefit analysis will not be there for only short term period, but it will be long term for the whole 25 years period.
Thank you so much. Quite valuable inputs, and I think it's clear that a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis is imperative for the data centers to make informed decision towards the sustainability goal. So my next question is for Mr. Andrew. It's for Mr. Durgesh. What are the strategies to reach the green goals and who are enablers for the same? Also, we want to know from you, can local data center in Mumbai or India deliver without the involvement of external players?
So I think maybe from finance background, so I'll throw some statistics and then probably talk about the goals, how to achieve it. So Maharashtra India has around 453 megawatt installed capacity, out of which around more than 450 gigawatt, 200 gigawatt is on renewables, mostly on solar, balance divided hydro and all. And out of which Maharashtra is around between 47 to 48 megawatts, so around you can say 14 to 15%, which is there for Maharashtra. Out of which the Mumbai peak demand during this last summer was around 4.4 gigawatts, so it's around 10% of what it is. Now, 1000 megawatt is what the industry of data center we are currently looking at. It's a capacity which is installed operating capacity. Out of it, 60% we say is for Mumbai. So around 600 megawatt is what Mumbai is of data center. So peak demand of around 4400 megawatt and data center at 600 megawatt. So probably it's around 15% of the consumption of Mumbai is going to data center. Now taking into account, let's say we are talking of with numbers flowing from various IPCs and global players with estimated data centers. So they are saying in India will grow in next 3 to 4 years. It will triple. Maybe it will go to 3.5 gigawatt to 4 gigawatt. Incrementally, we are adding 3 gigawatt and maybe 60% will 60% flow into Mumbai. So it's around again 2 gigawatt. 2 gigawatt plus 600 megawatt makes around 2.6 gigawatt. See the numbers which are there, right? So if even the capacity, the peak demand grows by around a gigawatt, we are at least 30 to 40% of rural capacity being utilized in Mumbai of data centers. Is it possible we can do this? No. So what we have to do, we have to incrementally, and that is the target of overall Indian government, like all the initial, next 500 gigawatt will be renewable, by 2030 they have to do it. That is the target currently which the government, I think 2 years back, they have set up 2-3 years back. So we all need to think collectively, like whatever incremental demand is coming from Mumbai, at least, let's say 60%, 50% of the market, we need to think of a thorough strategy, what we can do about it, and who has to do it, who are the enablers for it, and how can we do it. enablers, first of all, if you say enablers facilitate, who will facilitate? The government will facilitate. And government of Maharashtra, as I talked about in my previous queries, question, like they have come with a policy. And Maharashtra has a goal of moving to 1 trillion, 1 trillion GDP. And for that, from 47 gigawatt of total capacity, they have to move to 75 gigawatt, right? And most of it, 50% is the target, they will come from solar or renewable, right? So 50% from, let's say 37 gigawatt. Is it enough? My perspective is probably, if we get better the policy move, probably all the incremental demand that is coming from should come from renewable power only. That is something which a facilitator can help the guys, not only data center industry, but the other industry also. The second part of it is like, how do we do it? As Ganesh already said, like there are various models. Like there are group captive, there's a captive, there are developers in the market who are coming. So we have practiced. Maybe my company has practiced globally. They have done renewable on a they have done on a stealth model, virtual PPA, actual PPAs. They have done all the models. In India, I have executed 25 years deal on the group captive perspective, wherein 26% of the minimum equity you have to give and 51% the minimum consumption you have to give. So that is one model which is very prevalent. I have at least signed 7 to 8 PPAs in the last 6.5 years, and worked with various developers of international repute and all. Coming to the last question, like, so group captive is there, captive model is there. Going to the last question, whether Mumbai is self-sustainable, whether Mumbai can deliver green data center on its own. Upfront I will say yes, but with a fair policy and all. But on long term I will say no, because you might all have heard about currently supply of power getting into Bangladesh, right? The power is being supplied by Nepal, using transmission grid of India and going to Bangladesh. So I think this grid connectivity, inter-grid connectivity has to be done, my thought, broad thought, but to get to finally net zero, which is the target which everybody is setting. In India, I think the target is till 2070, but most of the developed economies are taking a target of around 2040 or 2050. I think one grid, one globe, one sun is what the Indian government also says. I think that will only make it possible to get the greening of the entire data centers, not only in India but probably globally also. That's my thought on this.
Great to know all these data and number. Thank you so much. Hi again, Mr. Andrew. So my question for you is, how can the industry collaborate with one of the key enablers, that is policymaker, to make renewable energy more accessible and affordable for India data centers?
Yeah, I think this is a huge challenge. It's not just a challenge for India. It's a challenge for all the way around the world. Many of our governments around the world have made commitments to meet net carbon zero. But they haven't actually done anything or very little to help industry to figure out how they get there. And they certainly haven't been proactive in changing regulation that will allow people like ourselves in the data center industry to make fairly large steps forward, positive steps forward. So we are somewhat constrained by a framework that already exists. I'll use the example of building regulations. They've existed in every country for many, many, many years, and they haven't changed for many, many, many years. But we need to, it's not just about electricity consumption, which we have been focusing on a little bit. It's about things like how much concrete we use, how much steel rebar do we use. What do we do with the building at the end of its life? How do we deconstruct it? Where do those materials go? Can they be reused? Can we actually migrate them from the building that we were in right now, which is a data center, and use them in a different facility somewhere else, almost like modularizing the building like a Lego kit. The only way that we will get to this utopia that your question is sort of leaning towards is by government and the industry actually working together. We're seeing around the region a lot of data center not-for-profit industry bodies being set up whose sole purpose for being there is to actually work as a combined, unified group to work with government and other legislative bodies to influence how they can change regulatory environment and move the country as a whole forward to the net zero targets. So I think that's forming these types of organisations and working as an industry body is far more powerful than trying to do it as an individual company on your own. You know, when you're an individual voice, you might be big in the industry, but you're not big in the country necessarily. But being a collective and working together as a group, industry group, then that is the way to get the ear of governments and start to change government policy.
Totally agree. I think perfectly explained. Thank you so much. May I pose my last question to Mr. Ganesh as well as Mr. Ashish? I'll start with Mr. Ganesh. Are there lessons which Mumbai Data Center can learn from global leaders in sustainability, or do unique challenges require bespoke solutions?
Yeah, so Equinix being a leader in the industry, we set examples by taking actions. So it is very interesting to see what actions Equinix have taken on sustainability. So we announced our commitment for the carbon neutrality by 2030 and then 100% RE adoption by 2030 way back in 2017. And today, as we speak, we are 96% of power in our 260 data centers comes from renewable energy sources. We are just 4% away from achieving our target. Our scope 1, scope 2 and scope 3 emissions are 25% reductions as compared to the baseline data of 2019. What this reflects and what lessons can be learned for the Mumbai data centers is basically the commitment is required on sustainability, on carbon neutrality. So that commitment is expected from Mumbai data center. The next is what we do is we export heat from our data center. Last year we exported a heat of 4,000 megawatt hours from our data center, and we have warmed almost 1100 homes in nearby vicinity of our data center. Recently Paris Olympics were taken place, and Paris Olympics swimming pools were heated up by the heat extracted from our Paris data center. So that is how we are contributing to the community by extracting the heat from our data center. Mumbai data centers, of course, can do in similar fashion, although the temperatures in Mumbai are quite high, humid. We cannot warm up the homes and swimming pools, but yes, the heat extracted from Mumbai data centers can always be utilized for preheating applications in the industry where those can be utilized. In addition to that, if you look at our reporting and for the data center is basically we got CDP A rating in last 2 years. That means the reporting is fair, monitoring is fair, and everything is perfect as far as sustainability is concerned. So learning for Mumbai data centers is of course not only giving the commitment, but then again start reporting on their carbon emissions and the ESG. As far as local market is concerned, we have some unique challenges and which needs unique or tailored solutions. Those are basically we have scarcity of land, we have scarcity of water, and our temperatures are not favorable for data centers like hot and humid. So all these three aspects where we have unique solutions is multi-floor data centers which are already built in Mumbai. The second solution for the hot and humid environment, the cooling technologies has to be adopted, which are evaporator type of cooling and closed loop cooling systems, and water scarcity where water recycling is there, rainwater harvesting is there, and the usage of the air-cooled chillers where water will not be utilized. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well explained. Over to you, Mr. Ashish.
Yeah, so we are talking about the adaptability from the global standards to Mumbai data centers or even in India. So if we should bifurcate this into two parts. One is greenfield data centers. We all know we are going for RE and then we are going for the new technologies which are coming up in the market, which are green. But what about the challenges of the existing data centers where we are talking about almost 1 gigawatt existing capacity which is there? So we have to have a solution in place how to ensure that the power taken by the existing capacity is one, yeah, we are going for a RE, and then how should we reduce the consumption and how should we operate those efficiently? So we should take a clue from the giants of the world. As Tanvi is there, Google has developed an AI tool which is called DeepMind. Also, IBM has also developed their AI tool. These tools are efficiently used by the global hyperscalers to ensure the operating efficiencies, the cooling parameters, the predictive analysis can be implemented to ensure the PUE of an existing data center should go down. Can we implement those in Indian scenario? I think definitely we have to look at that, because one side we are going for a new greenfield data centers. Also, we have to look at how we are making the efficient the existing data centers. Also, we need to relook the life cycle of the products. We can't just say that now my existing UPS, my transformers are gone out of the life cycle and then we go for a refurbishment. It's also adding the waste, which again a challenge to recycle. Can we increase the life cycle? Can we restructure, remodify, redesign the existing equipments which are already installed? We again need to relook the optimization of the same. Modular designing of the data centers. We can't go for the customization which will lead to a new kind of a product which are not developed by the vendors. We need to go for the modular design and the repeatability. If we adopt these things, I think we are more or less sort out the challenges on the sustainability.
Bang on, thank you so much. As our discussion draws to a close, I think is it evident that sustainability is no longer a peripheral concern, but it's a core imperative for the data center industry. The insights shared by our panelists today clearly project the multifaceted nature of this challenge, encompassing not just the environment responsibility, but the economic viability as well as social impact. And I believe we all agree that all data center must adopt a holistic approach towards sustainability goal, integrating innovative technology, reversed cost-benefit analysis, as well as collaborative partnership to achieve meaningful progress. With that, once again, thank you so much, our esteemed panelists, and all of you for being such patient listeners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.